This movie is not awesome.
Oh
Okay. I don't know what to start with first, what I love or what I don't love. I'll start with the shorter list, what I love.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to Grim Grinning Dads, the show where three Disney-obsessed dads share travel tips, hot takes, and a whole lot more. I'm Tyler. I am joined, as always, by Charlie and Caleb. And we are going to dive straight into part 2 of our 3-part Star Wars series. Last time, we broke down the prequels and Solo, a Star Wars story. We're going to continue in chronological order with Rogue One and the original trilogy. So let's dive right in, starting with Rogue One, the first non-Skywalker Star Wars film. And Charlie, kick us off. What are your thoughts?
Rogue One for me was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how things were going to get tied up. I think they did a really good job of introducing some characters, giving us some backstory to those characters. Not a crazy amount of backstory, but some good backstory. And I mean, we've obviously gotten some more backstory since, Andor has been released, but that doesn't count, I guess. It doesn't make Rogue One better, even though it kind of does, because you do know. But just going through that movie, you get to meet, you get to meet the main character, you get to meet her dad, and you get to kind of find out like how the whole thing went down, where the Death Star plans were stolen. And that was it was just a great story overall. I think that there certainly were some problems, but I don't have any of those to talk about. I'm sure Tyler will take the reins on that one. But I really enjoyed I enjoyed how everything was really, really tied up nice in a bow at the end with a gigantic explosion and one of arguably the coolest scenes maybe in all of Star Wars, with him coming through that hallway and just messing things up. Just messing things up. It was so cool.
Except that's the wrong saber.
Listen,
it is the wrong saber, 100%.
Guy,
but
all right, just because you said that, I'm gonna buy it. Like at the end of this episode, I'm buying it, and it's gonna be shipped here. Hopefully, for the next time we have our episode.
Why don't you buy it and ship it to me? I'll take it.
I mean, I'll take it. I have some wall space over here.
I have wall space.
No, I'm gonna buy it, and it's gonna come here, and I'm gonna be like, "Look it, I got a thing."
You got the thing.
Hopefully,
how do you feel about Rogue One?
Hopefully, it'll get here before, or fine with the Christmas. Rogue One. Can I just say, Rogue One actually feels like the real war in Star Wars. Like everything else in Star Wars is like space wizards and their magic swords. Okay, for lack of a better term, like it's right, like it's that. There was none of that in Rogue One. Like it was like actual boots on the ground war. And it's kind of nice too, because like Rogue One was really for the people that grew up with the original trilogy. Like it really closed that gap, and that's why I think that movie did as well as it did, is because the original trilogy was done very, very well for its time. And
not for its time, period. Done very, very well, period.
For its time.
We'll get there.
And yeah, I mean, it feels kind of like that final. It's like the final act that just brings that original trilogy together, if that makes sense. Like it does so well, and then Vader at the end, like you're saying, Charlie, is just like that's the terrifying Vader that I think they were going for in the original trilogy, but they just couldn't. Right? Technology was a thing. They were brand new. Everything that they did in the original trilogy was built from the ground up. Right? They had to learn stuff and all that. So it's one of those things. However, just because I love Rogue One like that does not mean that there aren't things that I don't love about it. Like at the first act of the movie jumps around a lot. It's like they're trying to speed through the story to get you to the point to where it's going to be ultra climactic and it's going to be amazing, right? It's like they do that. It's more about the mission than the people, and like the characters don't really have much of like they're not deeply memorable. Like I forgot that Andor was even in there. Like,
Oh,
and
did
then I
you
was like,
really?
wait a second. He's oh, okay. I appreciate the show a little bit more. You know, like
Have you guys watched all of Andor?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not quite yet.
Charlie,
I'm working
you
through it. Well, you guys made me
okay, I
watch
mean-
11 movies over the past.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Yeah,
I
you're
haven't
right.
had a
Okay.
chance. I was
got
like,
you. Okay.
so I was watching Andor season 2 like last week, and I was
good.
like, well, I should probably not continue watching Andor season 2 right now because I need to re-up on some of the other movies that we've been talking about the last 2 weeks. So I will absolutely be catching up on it. I've got some time during the holidays where I'll.
Sorry to cut you off,
No,
Caleb.
no, you're good.
Finish
Like,
the point.
It's really that though, right? Like the characters outside of that are very like immemorable. However, it does
KSO
close.
is pretty memorable. I mean,
It does-
he's
sure.
so cool.
Right.
I love KSO.
He does. The movie does fill a gap. It respects that the universe of Star Wars. But what's also nice about it is that it has a definite end. Like there's no like, oh yeah, like we're gonna have a Rogue One 2 or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like there's none of that. It's like,
Yep.
no, this is where it ends, and we go right into A New Hope. But yeah, I appreciate the movie. It is definitely up there on my scale, mostly because that Vader scene is just incredible.
Okay. All right. I feel like I'm going to
Vader's
pick
my
through
dude.
this with a fine-tooth comb. I like the movie. I don't love it because, in my opinion, it's not quite a full movie. For the first like 45 minutes to an hour, it doesn't know what it is.
That's fair.
It's hopping all over the place. Now, I will say the last act, like from when they get to Scarif through the end, is like an awesome short film. But the problem with it, and you kind of touched on this, is that we don't get to spend any time with these characters, so we don't really care too much about what happens to them if you only know about what's being told to us in the movie. Now, I ask about Andor because if you watch 2 seasons of Andor, which is probably the best thing Disney has produced since they acquired Star Wars, especially season 2 of Andor is incredible. And it really shows that kind of like darker side of the rebellion. And it really shows the kind of the teeth of the Empire, which we don't really see a lot in the movies. We keep being told that they're bad, but we don't see a lot of this like ground level bad stuff.
Right.
So it makes you appreciate the sacrifice a whole lot more that happens in Rogue One, but the movie itself doesn't really earn that. I mean, the characters, I made a couple notes on the characters, but like Jyn Erso, she's reactive, not proactive. Her arc basically goes from I don't care to, well, I guess I care now.
Right.
And she doesn't emote enough that like brings the audience with her. I mean, Cassian is kind of introduced as this morally gray character. And the movie kind of alludes to his complexity, but we don't really know anything about it. But that's where having the backstory of Andor definitely helps. And then the rest of their supporting cast are just kind of like just archetypes of characters, but not like fleshed out, like fully emotional characters. I mean, the one who has the greatest emotional depth is the robot. It's K2SO.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But to highlight what's really good about the movie, I really like they do show some of the kind of inner workings of the rebellion, how they're not unified at all. A lot of them are still afraid to fight. And it takes somebody basically going against orders to actually start the fight. So I do appreciate that. I will agree that the scene at the end with Vader is cool. However, I don't think it belongs in this movie because it's such a tonal shift from everything else we've seen. I think the movie should have ended right after you see Cassian and Jyn kind of get engulfed by the explosion.
Yep.
It should have been cut to credits.
It could have.
That would have been like a huge emotional ending.
Yep.
But it seems like this tag-on ending with Vader while it's cool on its own, is a totally different tone than everything else we've just seen. So I would have liked that scene put in something else.
But Vader.
I just don't think it works. Okay. Also, the Vader scene earlier in the movie is awful. Where he goes to talk to Krennic. It's just terrible. Like, the lines are cheesy. His voice doesn't sound right. It's just like, he didn't need to be shoehorned into this movie. I think it would have been better. He felt like he was there for fan service and not to actually progress the story. So I would have liked no Vader, and let's just proceed with them taking on the Empire, but Vader doesn't have to be a part of it. Or maybe he can show up at the very end as like a surprise, but you kind of knew he was going to be there because he showed up earlier in the movie. So it took away that surprise element. So at the end of the day, I mean, the final act is very effective, but overall, it just feels like, I don't know, kind of a C plus of a movie to me, which, I would still say, better than the prequels, but not quite a full movie for me.
Okay.
All right. I mean, we also, a couple other things to kind of mention. We did get the introduction of a live version of Saw Gerrera in this movie, which is cool because he shows up in Rebels and other places in the animated universe, right? And so that was kind of cool to kind of see him in there. He is paranoid as heck, and it just really shows that he's very, very paranoid in this movie, which is cool. I do have to kind of agree with you on Jin, because I couldn't even remember her name. Without looking it up, I could not remember her name. Now, granted, every podcast we have at least one name that I cannot remember, and you guys have to feed it to me.
Last time it was Harrison Ford.
Last time it was Harrison Ford. So that's a thing.
You could,
and I love Harrison Ford. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my favorite, like, of all time. I'm like, I love Harrison Ford. He's great. However, with all of the stuff that goes on in this movie, I do agree with you though. Like, it does feel like that Vader scene again. It's the one thing that does stand out to me, but it could have cut because that was so emotional at that moment with the two of them hugging. I was like, there's no way. Like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way. And the one thing I really liked about the fact that they were that basically every single character was destroyed. Every single one. The thing I like about that is that we know that they never get mentioned in any of the other movies, and that there's a reason for that, because they were destroyed.
Well, and it also shows that there's actual stakes in these movies too, which I feel like there haven't been major stakes in a lot of these movies before, because like ultimately your main characters are going to make it through, especially if they're prequels. Like, well, Obi-Wan's still around later, so we know he's not going to be in any danger. But with these guys, I mean, like, you really didn't know the first time, like, because there could have been, more stories with them later on that they could have done. But I kind of like that choice to make it, final for all of them.
Yep.
I think the mistake was making Jin the main character. I think now they probably didn't know at the time that they were going to do a whole Andor series, but I think if they had known that, or if that was the plan, you would make Cassian the main character because he's the one that you're going to have the attachment to.
Yeah, you would. Yep. But again, it was an after the fact thing. Another thing that that I don't love that they decided to shoehorn in there were the two people's faces that they had to digitally put over someone else's face, including Leia. And I just hate it. I hate every moment of that. I'm like, God, like, you can't do digital faces yet. Like, you still can't do them correctly.
It could have just been weird. The backside of her dress.
100%, and that would have been fine.
Face. I think the Tarkin was, I don't want to say it was good, but it was better than Leia for sure.
Yeah.
But they also had, I don't know the guy's name, but they had an actor play, because you see Tarkin at the very end of episode 3 on the bridge of the Star Destroyer.
Yep.
Like, just bring in that guy. Like, he clearly has the same look. And then you can alter just the voice if the guy doesn't have the right voice for it. But, like, I don't know, it just feels like we're going to get to a place where they are just going to, like, put de-aged characters in movies, and like actual actors aren't going to get work anymore because they're just going to keep putting like young Harrison Ford or young Mark Hamill in more stuff.
Yeah. Welcome to the world
But
of deep
speaking
fakes.
but speaking of young Harrison Ford and young Mark Hamill, let's move on to a little film called Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. Charlie, what do you got?
I mean, it's the one that started it all. I had to look back and realize that my brain had made it so that I thought that I had gone and seen these movies in the theater, and I probably did when they were like re-released when George Lucas did whatever the thing is that he did with all of the different stuff, all the different additional digital features that he decided to toss on there. Um, but I did not see this movie in the theaters until it was re-released. Because it came out 2 years before I was born. It still blew my mind seeing it for the first time. I do not remember seeing it for the first time. I was probably, gonna do it 6 or 7. And so I
Well played.
probably was that old when I saw it for the first time. And my parents had bought it, or I'm pretty sure it was like a family friend who had picked up the movie. And it was just um something so, I mean, I think honestly think Star Wars might have been the property that got me to move from like fantasy reading and fiction to like science fiction. um it it kind of kindled that, like, okay, we're talking space again, like we're dealing with space, and we're talking about wars that happened in space or in the stars. And we're dealing with a character who's very whiny to start off with Luke. Um and uh and I think that that's okay for him. I think that that probably works for what it is, because
It means he goes on an arc,
you
Caleb.
need to see some
He
growth.
goes on an
Well,
arc.
that's the thing. You need to see some growth from him. And he,
Yeah.
he also learned how to act after the first movie too, which was nice. Like
He did get better.
he was very much a kind of an unknown, very similarly to, I mean, I don't think you can like look up his IMDb and look be before 1977 and find much that he did. I think it was one of those things, and that's why George brought in the kid who played Anakin as well, and just to try to do a relative unknown who, who'd kind of grow into that role. And like, but that didn't work when you brought in like an 8-year-old who was just literally there for one movie. So for this one, Luke going through, just basically like, I want to be on the stars, like I want to get off Tatooine, like I need to get off of this sandy planet. And then he meets Obi-Wan, and I guess the rest is history. I mean, he learns about this mysterious, thing called the Force. Like he seems like he might have known about the Jedi a little bit. Like I think everybody in the world, in the universe, kind of knows about the Jedi at least a little bit. But then he ends up, saving the princess, making out with her a little bit.
Hey, that's a different movie.
It's a different movie. It doesn't do that here. Okay.
She kisses him on the cheek
Okay.
right before they kind of swing across the
Oh, right.
in the Death Star when they're escaping.
Yep.
But yeah, there's no make out here.
It's one of those things. It's one of those ones that I can picture exactly what you're talking about, just based on the very minimal description of it, just because of the memory of it. But you have them get stuck in a trash compactor in this one, which is hilarious and awesome, right, Caleb? They get stuck in that trash compactor, and then they're all dying, and and 3PO's freaking out, and R2's actually saved them. I mean, it's just a lot of really cool stuff that happens in this movie. That trash compactor scene might be the best thing in all of Star Wars, honestly. And they're just kind of working their way through, learning about their different characters. Han Solo gets introduced with Chewbacca, and we love them.
So
and
bad.
and I'm gonna stop my recap with
So
McClunky and end it
Oh,
there.
gosh. Yep, that's a great way to stop.
Just
All right,
McClunky.
Caleb.
this movie is not awesome.
Oh my.
It's good. It's just not awesome. Okay, I don't know what to start with first, what I love or what I don't love. I'll start with the shorter list, what I love. I love that it's the classic and it's the first one. It is the introduction to a great universe that everybody loves. It's simple. There's a clear good and a clear evil. And all right, what I don't love. This movie is so stinking slow. It drags for no reason. Like, why do we have a scene where C-3PO and R2-D2 are stuck in the sand for what feels like eternity? Like, it makes zero sense. The fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, couple kids throwing sticks at each other. It feels very 1977, very, very outdated.
And yet it had more emotion behind it than the fight in 3.
I don't know.
Agreed.
Like, okay, why were the stormtroopers this incredible, like, force to be reckoned with, and they can't hit crap?
They can hit their head on a ceiling when they walk through.
Right.
That's true.
And then, okay, and like when Han chases the stormtroopers like they've never seen a blaster before in their life.
It's awesome.
And then
It's
has
a
to
misdirection.
run back like
it's anytime you go and run at somebody, they're gonna run away. I mean, that's what happens, right? Even though they all have laser beam guns.
Funny. It's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's hilarious, but it's very Looney Tunes.
Oh, for sure.
It's very
It was part.
Looney
I mean,
Tunes.
it certainly was part of the charm of the movie as well. Like throwing in a little bit of Looney Tunes in some of the things.
Fair, but like, why is Han the comedic relief? Why is that a thing? Like,
Because Luke's supposed to be the hero.
I don't think Han's supposed to be the comedic relief. I think he's supposed to be kind of the avatar for the audience, where he's like, this stuff is ridiculous. And like he's learning things along with the audience.
Sure.
Because he's seeing things he's never seen before.
That's an argument.
Which is saying a lot
make.
Because he says he's been across the galaxy.
Right.
But even he's seeing stuff that he doesn't quite believe. And that's why like the audience is along for that ride with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's an argument. You can make that. Sure.
Space magic.
But like, okay. And then the trash
compactor.
You were talking about the trash compactor. Let's talk about that for a second.
Let's do it.
They just happened to survive. Like,
it wasn't chance.
They didn't happen to. R2-D2 finally figured out what he was doing with his screwball turny thing, and finally did it.
Accidentally, like, come on.
R2
doesn't. R2. What's the
disable all the garbage mashers on the detention level.
The whole thing.
But like, there's zero consequences to that whole thing. Like, there's no injuries, no nothing.
They smell.
But like, what?
Hey,
what's the whole point of that?
You meet the Dianoga.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But like, why? Why is this even here?
It just creates tension. It's a scene that creates tension.
Because you don't know. You don't know. Like, you know now that they made it out of there, but you don't know when you're watching that. You're like, I mean, it's literally the thing that is played. And unfortunately, you're right. Looney Tunes is a good way to put it. They do a lot of that where there's like a shrinking room and they're just, like they're trying to figure out how to get out of it. And then they do at the last second. I think that's something that happens in Scooby-Doo quite a bit, where they're just like, "Oh, I got to make our ways out," and like then they get out at the last second. Like,
it's a trap. Like,
it's a trap. Oh no, what do we do? It's a slow moving. It's a slow moving.
That's
room.
Later on.
I know that is. Okay, another thing. Obi-Wan turning off the tractor beam. Like, is the security on the Death Star that bad?
Yes.
They were arrogant.
So arrogant.
Yes.
100%. It's an easy excuse for sure.
No guards.
None.
No alarms.
Well, they did have a couple guards. He had to like mind trick them.
No backups or like fail safes.
No, they don't need it. Nobody was going to get onto the ship.
But it's the most important.
They didn't think it was necessary.
The Death Star is the most important military asset that the Empire has, and they're just running on cool vibes.
No, that's why they made a second one.
Like they're standing around watching Disco Roomba, and Obi-Wan's turning off tractor beams without, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, and then the medal ceremony at the end. Like, Chewie gets nothing.
Yeah, no, I'll agree. Chewie
got nothing.
That's some BS.
He gets something 9 movies later or something. He finally gets it.
He
finally
Not a hug
gets
from
it.
Leia, though.
And-
Not a hug from
No.
Leia.
and
unfortunately
Leia
not.
just stands there, silently, doesn't say anything, just
All she needed to do was smile. That's
Yeah.
all she needed to do. That's the direction that he gave. All right, you're very pretty. Just stand there and smile.
right. Well, she's probably high.
I think that was
That's not canon.
that was later.
Still,
Well, her nail
Right.
very much is.
right.
I know.
And then like, there's no celebration for like anybody else, like nothing. Like it's just that them.
Yeah,
that
like you'd
team.
think like Wedge should be up there too, right?
No,
Like-
just the three of those guys
And
and R2
not
And R2
not
and
even
3PO.
and
not
3PO
even
gets
a
gold.
clap.
Not only
Not
that,
even-
but 3PO gets made gold too.
Not
No
a
clapping.
clap, not an acknowledgement of anybody else that had any part to do with saving the galaxy, right? Just those guys.
Except for the
Whatever.
fanfare of the most iconic soundtrack of all time.
Yes. Absolutely.
Um,
And not even close.
I have one more thing that I'm just gonna rant on here for a second. Why in the world how does Luke go from never leaving Tatooine to like blowing up the biggest military asset that the Empire has in like what seems like a weekend?
The Force.
Look, he told you he used to bullseye womp rats in his
He
T-16.
did it.
But he's used the Force one time on a training droid and then nails
Well, I think-
the 1 in a million shot.
I think what we can sort of infer is that he's used the Force previously without knowing it.
Do we know that? Can we infer that?
Do we know that? No. Can we infer that? I think so.
I
What?
think so.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Because he's never.
Well, just like Anakin, it was implied that Anakin, when he was pod racing, using the Force because it gave him faster reflexes. Now, he didn't know and couldn't articulate what that was. But like Qui-Gon even says, like, you must have Jedi reflexes to race pods. So like that kind of shows us like, okay, you can show some abilities even without some training. And we see it
Sure.
later with Rey also. And I don't want to step on that conversation because I'm sure that'll be a argument we're going to have.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But I think there is some precedent for it where you can kind of showcase some things without the actual like formal training,
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but like,
especially in that family.
and you, but like in a weekend, like, come on.
I mean,
Okay.
Silent Bob did it.
All right.
Silent Bob did it in a couple minutes at a
Oh.
mall, and he made the tape pop into his hand so that he could get that guy in trouble who works at Fashionably Mail.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a thing that happened, and he used the Force,
I'm just
and
saying,
it was over a weekend.
Great pull, Charlie.
Thank
Great
you.
pull.
Thank you.
All right. Can I say my piece here?
Absolutely.
by all means.
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that this is the most important movie ever made, because it changed the entire entertainment industry.
Okay, that's fair.
It changed the way that movies are marketed. It changed the way that special effects were done. It went on to change theme parks and create entire industries.
Yeah.
And it has helped prop up a franchise that's going on 50 years now. And it started with this. Now, it's not the best film in the franchise, I'll just say that, but it does so much with so little. That's what I think is the most impressive thing about it. It is a very 1977 movie. It's a slower pace. It doesn't have, because they didn't have the ability to do, and this is probably honestly for the better, is that they didn't have the ability to do what George would have wanted to do, because we've seen what George could do when he was unchecked.
That's fair.
And yeah, so it's kind of like the Jaws thing, how like the Jaws robot didn't function properly, so they had to show it less, and that made Jaws a better movie. I think they were benefiting from the limitations that they had with this movie. They couldn't do all the effects, so they had to be creative with it, and the miniature work and the sound work
Oh my goodness.
that went into this was incredible. But I know we're running a little long, so just a couple of points that I want to make. But everything is done in a super clear way. Every scene advances the plot, or it deepens a character, or it does both. And they do it without over-explaining anything. Like, there's no lore dumps or exposition dumps, really. Like, the closest you get to that is Obi-Wan kind of saying, "You must learn the ways of the Force." But, like, even that, he's very vague about it, but it's kind of sending Luke on his mission. So it drives the plot forward. The Force is vague and it's spiritual and it's better left unexplained. Now, we do get more into that later, but as an introduction to the concept of the Force, I think they do a really good job about teasing it without over explaining it. And then as far as world building goes, the cantina scene does more to world build than the entire prequel trilogy. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
So
they didn't need to because we already had it. So
what?
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either. So good. So good. And and it just continues to play that great theme song in the background the whole time. It's amazing. What was the movie? Didn't they show up in Solo?
They showed up in Rogue One.
They were in Rogue
Jeddah.
One? Okay. Yeah, I remember the two of those guys. I was like, what is happening? That's so cool.
All right. So let's move on. I cannot wait to hear where this one goes. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Charlie, what are your thoughts?
I got it too.
Okay, now we're back in the cantina. No, come on, we're moving on.
Sorry.
We're going to Hoth. We're going to Hoth, guys.
I could see it. I was like, I don't hear it, but I could definitely understand what he's doing.
Okay,
there.
pop quiz. Can you guys name the band in the cantina?
Yeah, the cantina band.
No,
they have an actual name.
They do have an actual name, and I don't know it offhand.
Nope.
I'm not the name guy.
Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes.
That's
sweet.
Funny.
Yep.
All right.
It's too bad they never
moving on.
Play anything else.
They only played one song. That's all
that
they
was
got.
it. That was the only song that they had, and they were rock stars with it.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, that's why they were playing that crappy cantina on Tatooine.
Right. If you only know one song, that's what happens to you.
That's where you end up.
Yep.
So Empire. I just watched it again today. That actually makes 3 times in the last month. So if that lets you kind of into my thought process and feelings about this movie,
Proud of you, Charlie.
I could watch it over and over again and never really get bored, pick up on new things, just live in that world and really just enjoy like the stuff that happens in the first act on Hoth is just so cool. With Luke getting kidnapped by the what is it called?
The Yeti, for lack of a better term.
The Yeti, the Yeti thing. He's
It's
called
the
something.
Wampa.
Is it
The
Wampa?
Wampa.
Okay, I thought in my head that's what I had, Wampa. So he gets kidnapped by the Wampa. That's super crazy and cool.
You know why they did that, right?
No.
It's because Mark Hamill was in a car accident between films, and they had him be captured to show why he would have a scar on his face.
That's what it was. Okay.
Hmm.
So I was like, again, he got punched like one time by this Wampa, and I'm like, wow, they did some really good makeup on the side of his face, because I did pick up on that when he was when he had fallen down before he went into the Bacta tank.
Well, that's why he was covered in so much makeup when he shows up in the holiday special.
Holiday special, arguably the best thing that they've ever done. Yeah.
I don't think even I could make that argument.
I don't think you could.
That's
so there's just a lot. I mean, we get moving from Hoth. I mean, there's just that really cool scene. Darth Vader, he's looming. He's on his way there. He knows where they are. They've kind of identified exactly where they are based on the droids that they are essentially sending out across the entire galaxy looking for these people. They figure out that they're on Hoth. They go. They basically have these like giant lasers to kind of get them out of there, and then they get up. They finally escape and are trying to hide out. There's some really cool things that happen as they're trying to escape, where they end up hiding on the back of the Star Destroyer. And my son was like, did they get tractor beamed? And I was like, no, they're hiding on the back, like they because they won't be able to see them, because they're part of the ship essentially, and they're going to be jettisoned as trash, which I think is very, very cool. And we get introduced to Boba Fett, who at this point in our knowledge of him is very cool and one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy. We learn later,
and it never changes.
We don't learn anything that changed that. We do not watch the book of Boba Fett and learn anything different. He's just very cool, and he is the smartest bounty hunter of all of them.
King, he's king of the bounty hunters.
King of the bounty hunters. That's fair. so he follows them. They go to Cloud City. We get to meet Lando, which is really really cool. I mean, just overall, I'm not going to go beat for beat for the entire movie, but um, and then we just get left there with like a cliffhanger. Um, and at this point in my life, I don't hadn't ever remembered a movie doing this, where it just was like, wow, like we're just gonna drop, yeah, like this stuff all happens, and oh, okay, I guess they're taking off with him in the in what's it called, Slave One.
Yep.
That's right, Slave One. So he's taking off in Slave One, and he's just gonna you know be gone, like with Han. And yeah, very very cool, super cool scenes where Luke and Vader kind of fight each other. And we get the iconic line that everyone screws up, um where it's not Luke, I am your father. It is actually what is it, I am your
No,
father.
it's no, I am your father.
Right, exactly. And and it was great. I was sitting there watching it with my son today, and he looked over, he goes, is that true? And it was just such a great moment that I was like, really, I was so happy. I was like, this is awesome. He's so cool that so
But
cool that he doesn't know.
You know why that scene works so well is because it's just the two of them there, and it's intimate, and they don't explain anything, but you just know by the reaction that it's the truth.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah.
it's so powerful.
Search your feelings and you'll know that it's true. And very very cool. We meet Yoda, who brings us back to our Looney Tunes, which Caleb, I'm sure will have some opinions about in a moment.
Yeah, why is he a backpack?
He's awesome. He's the best backpack in the world, man.
Look, he's
He teaches you-
900 years old.
He
Like, give
is.
the guy a break, would you?
He is.
Yeah, I knew somebody was going to do it.
Oh God. Oh God. The best. So yeah, I wonder if we would get a copyright strike if I played Seagull's "Stop It Now."
I was just thinking that.
On one of our top tens. Like I could just play that in the background of Tyler's top 11. Because my son, he hadn't seen any Star Wars at all, but that showed up, and he thinks that is the funniest thing ever. And we listened to that. We listened to it so much for like so long. Anyway, I loved that. Empire is definitely above Star Wars for me. And again, it just continued to, and I think I probably watched all three of them because I was young enough that all three of them would have been had been released probably on tape at that point. Those VCR things for you young kids out there. It I just loved it. I think I probably got through that one, and I was like, thank goodness I get to watch the third one. Because I would have freaked out. Like,
imagine having to wait 3 years.
Well, that's what I did
at the end of that movie.
That's what I did with that's actually not what I did with Back to the Future Part 2, because they released both of those within the same year, which is the weirdest thing ever too. Anyway,
but after that level of a reveal and kind of that cliffhanger, like having to wait 3 years,
it's crazy. Yeah,
crazy.
I would have lost it. Caleb,
let's hear it.
Let's hear it, buddy.
Okay,
that's not a good introduction. A gigantic sigh.
Because
I don't know what you could possibly have to say about this one.
God.
That's negative.
I'm waiting for it.
Okay,
start with your negatives, or actually start with the shorter list. What's your shorter list?
Okay, Empire.
Careful.
Is arguably the best Star Wars ever made. Arguably.
And the show's over, folks.
I'm waiting for him to say but.
It has some flaws. A lot of them. I love that it's a deep and dark movie. Like, it is. It's meant to be more heartfelt and more like in your chest. Character development is on a completely other level compared to A New Hope. It's full of many iconic moments, and it expands the universe beyond Tatooine and a Death Star. Like, awesome. Here's what I don't love. It's not a fun movie. It's It's a very serious movie. It's very heavy. It ends without resolution, which I understand was on purpose, which makes it better, but it is also very like, I imagine being one of those people walking out of the movie theater and going like, that's it? Like, there's no way that that's it.
Well, it wasn't it. It was it for then.
And
Right.
you knew it wasn't
But-
it.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing at
Maybe.
the end of Avengers Infinity War, right? The snap happens.
I did say that was the Empire Strikes Back of the
Right,
MCU.
Right.
You did.
Right.
I did say that.
100%.
You
100%.
did.
And it's very like, no way. Like, you're going to leave us here. It leaves you wanting more, which is a good thing, right? Brought people back for Jedi, which is awesome. But it's still very like, come on. Like that, don't leave me here. And
But that's the kind of stuff that stays with you, though.
Right.
Like that.
that's fair.
That's why it has such long-lasting impact.
It's fair. It's also for me not super rewatchable. Like it's one of those like I saw it once, I don't need to see it again. There's that. Now here's one of the things that like also frustrates the Evan living out of me. Yoda and Obi-Wan straight up tell Luke not to leave, and then he does it anyway during his training. Like the dad in me just wants to like, I tell you what, boy. And you're gonna find out. We warned you.
You're not my real dad, Obi-Wan or Yoda.
Yeah, the giant crybaby again. He get like, and then like totally disobeying his thing, right? Disobeying the suggestion or the very strong request of Yoda and Obi-Wan. He wrecks, loses a hand, and finds out that his dad is the dude that he's been trying to kill. Okay.
Okay.
All
right.
The space slug. Why? It's cool, but like, okay, feels like a campfire story that somehow made it into a movie. The Hoth base evacuation felt weird. Rebels just kind of get away.
Well, some of them do. Some of them don't.
Like the thing that like blows my mind, right? The Empire takes forever to fully lock down the planet. The Rebels, like I said, just get away. And the most powerful military force in the galaxy moves slowly when the plot needs it to. Like they were doing more things in World War I and World War II that moved way faster. And these are like, I can't do it.
Yeah, Caleb with spaceships, man. But
I would have fired somebody.
Well,
I would have fired somebody.
They do explain it in the movie. Just saying.
I would have fired somebody. Somebody would have been fired.
Well, did you see all of those admirals who were getting choked out?
Right.
A lot of dead
You're right.
admirals.
You're fair.
Yeah.
There's a stack of them.
Yeah, but I mean, outside
Yeah, it's
of
like
those
who
things-
would sign up to work under Vader? Like these workplace conditions are terrible.
Yeah. Don't choke on your aspirations.
Okay. All right. Let me get through my couple notes here.
It's a great line.
You know, not a great line from a worse movie. This movie, however, it's my favorite movie. Full stop. It's one of the best movies ever made. It has staying power because it's so different. It takes the foundation and builds on it in a way that's not expected. It allows our heroes to fail repeatedly. It deepens all the characters. You spend so much time, especially with Luke, like all that stuff on Dagobah. Like it's such rich text in there. The training it's not based on anything physical. It's all mental. And that's what Yoda's trying to teach him. It's not about physical strength. You know, the whole thing about, judge me by my size, like that's the lesson that we're all learning about the Force, has nothing to do with physical strength. And then the twist, like I said, it works because of how simple it is. It's just those two characters and you never see it coming. They even didn't tell the majority of the cast and crew working on the film. They had fake scripts given to almost everybody. So the only people that knew it were the director and I think the guy inside, James Earl Jones, and I think maybe David Prowse, who is in the suit, he might have known as well. But even Mark Hamill himself didn't know. He was reacting to something else that was being said on the set. where I think on the set they said no.
I killed
I
your
killed
father.
I
Yeah.
killed your father. Yeah. So, but in the ending works because it's not about victory. It's not about resetting anything. It's just purely about survival, and it's such a great place to end it, and it leaves you wanting more,
It's
and
fair.
that's the goal.
That's fair. Yeah. No, and like I said, it is arguably the best Star Wars movie ever made.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to get ahead into our rankings, but I have this above A New Hope and above Rogue One.
I have it above both of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, me too.
All right. Let's get through our last one of the night, and that is Return of the Jedi. Go ahead, Charlie.
Why does Lando call Han Solo Han? That always bothered me. I always wondered that, and it didn't make any sense to me then. Still doesn't make sense. They did make him do it in Solo as well, just like as like a joke. I'm
Mhm.
wondering whether or not like
It's an inside joke. That's what it is.
probably something like that. Return of the Jedi was the movie that was on repeat at my parents' friend's house all the time. It is one of my favorite movies ever. It's a infinitely rewatchable movie for me. I don't have my Wicket stuffed animal from childhood in here, but I do have it, and he still does exist. From then, he's faded as hell, but he's still here. Um, and I guess I didn't really understand it at the time, but I do get it now that they were like, we should have some merch. Like we should make some things that are fluffy and stuffy, like, and make those for merchandise. But Return of the Jedi is great. It does have some problems. I will admit that there are some issues. Um, Luke, for whatever the hell reason, believes he's a full-fledged Jedi all of a sudden. And all the not only is he a full-fledged Jedi, but like this guy is wearing all black. Like, I mean, most of the time, he's just walking around in all black, which is
On Tatooine, no less.
on Tatooine. Like, good God, with all the sand there, it is very coarse sand, and it is very uncomfortable.
Stop
It
it.
gets places that it shouldn't. Um, but like that's I think that's one of my biggest problems.
That actually
Do
hurts
I
my
love
heart.
seeing him think that he's a full-fledged Jedi and do like crazy things? I absolutely do. Do I love seeing him walk into Jabba's palace and be like, dude, I mean, you don't want to do this. And, then he messes him up. Boba Fett goes into the Sarlacc pit, and then we escape. And then he goes back and has some moments with Yoda, as Yoda is all of a sudden deciding to die, which again is another problem that I have. I'm like, I mean, I understand he's 900 and whatever years old at this point, but he's just like, well, guess it's time. I mean, I guess I'm just going to let go, even though I still am arguably one of the most powerful Force users in the universe. Um, Also, I'm not interested in fighting. Like, I'm not going to fight now. Like, even though that there's a rebellion and he could be involved, and like he just like as soon as Order 66 happened, he just gave up on being a Jedi and fighting for what's right, and literally just went and hid on this random planet. And I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time with that whole thing. But ignoring all that, the moment when he disappears, very similarly to Obi-Wan, super cool. Um, the stuff that happens on Endor sounds super cool. It's really fun as well. For the most part. And then we get our climax with old lightning hands and putty face. So old lightning hands and putty face. And you know, I think one of the best analogies what maybe was ever made is from, I believe it's from no, it's not from Mallrats. It's from Chasing Amy, where one of the characters is talking about how what happens at the end of Return of the Jedi. This guy, this just giant, powerful guy clad all in black, once he gets defeated, just turns out to be a feeble old white man. And that's what ended up happening at the end of this movie. And unfortunately, they did retcon and put Hayden Christensen as one of the Force ghosts at the end of the movie as well.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. That doesn't need to happen. That's so weird. That shouldn't be a thing. Like, I don't like, don't do things just for the sake of doing them. But if I were to put this one on my ranking list for the movies we talked about today, I would say that this one is above Rogue One, above Star Wars, and probably below Empire, but only slightly below Empire.
Okay.
All right, Caleb.
All right,
What
Caleb.
you got, big dog?
Okay. Jedi. It's a good movie. I actually really enjoy Jedi a lot.
Wow, that was a lot of buildup.
Hold on.
We did it.
Hold on. Jedi is very, very much one of my favorites, and it's not for the reasons that you probably think it is. So here, one of the biggest issues right away with the start of the movie is Luke's plan to rescue Han. It's really not a plan. He just
Sure
kind of
it
shows.
is.
Sure. It's a
We'll
plan
send
that he's
Leia. We'll send Leia, and we'll send the droids as a gift, and then we'll send Leia in as a guy,
right,
a bounty hunter
we'll
guy.
send R2, and I know he's going to be assigned to the exact sail barge that we're going to be
Right.
on later.
And he's going to be hiding a lightsaber. It's going to be cool.
Force premonition.
It
Force
works.
premonition.
I mean, it works because the movie says it does. The Ewoks, personally, like, they're one of my favorite characters of the entire universe. But the problem that I have with them in this movie is that there's just like nothing really about them. Like, it's just like, whoop, here they are, and they help a little bit, and that was it. Feels like we're back into the Looney Tunes with it all, especially when they're like
They worship 3PO.
worshiping 3PO.
It's the best.
It's like, okay, here we go. And then now we finally get the reveal that Luke and Leia are brother sister after they made out, and they're like, I always knew.
Yeah, that's the best line ever. It's just like, I always knew. And I'm like, what do you mean?
It's funny if she always knew, because George Lucas definitely didn't.
I know.
Nope.
And then like the second Death Star, like, okay, just beating into the thing. And I completely agree with you. Like, all of a sudden, Luke just thinks he's this full-fledged Jedi. It's frustrating, but that's probably the argument that most people will use. Is like, oh, the Jedi have returned. Luke is here, but he's not the Jedi that returned. Okay, he's not
a goth
the
guy in
freaking
black.
Jedi that returned. The whole thing, the Jedi to return is Anakin at the very end of the movie, and I'm gonna plant my flag so hard here. Okay, Anakin was, is, and will forever be the one that the prophecy spoke of. Okay, that is it. He is the prophet. He is the chosen one. And now Anakin doesn't return from being Vader just because he picks up a lightsaber. He returns because he picks up his son. In the end, he doesn't overthrow the Emperor as a warrior. He does it as a father. And as a dad, I know that I would, if I saw my son or my daughter being treated that way, like, I can't help but do something about it, right? And I know every dad watching that scene would feel the same way. Like, Anakin is the Jedi that returned, and for the longest time I didn't know that until I watched the entirety of everything, and I understood that this is a whole big line of movies about one dude and one family. Like, that's the whole point. The whole premise is the fulfillment of this prophecy. But yeah, Jedi, love it. Great movie. Very, very good movie. Also, I don't understand the green lightsaber thing, though. Like, it was blue, now it's green. How'd that happen? But
well, he lost that saber, so he had to construct a new one, and maybe the only color crystal he could find was green.
no, the only reason why it went green is because blue didn't show up against a blue sky.
Well, I'm sure somebody somewhere has like a lore reason why it's green.
Probably.
Because
but
the colors are supposed to match like personality traits.
I don't know. How do you get a green crystal? Like, where'd you find it?
I could go
In-
down that
in
rabbit hole
sand.
where most of the crystals were found, but that's for another show. Okay, let me go through my notes here. I really love this movie. It was my favorite as a kid, and then as I got older, I definitely grew more into Empire. But I've never lost my appreciation for it. But I can see some faults in it. The first act, everything up through the escape from the sail barge, just it feels like a whole separate movie. And it kind of the tone totally shifts after that. And some of those characters, like all the characters that are going down to Endor to disable the shield, kind of have nothing to do. It feels like they're just being put off to the side to make room for the Luke and Vader stuff.
Right.
Which, for good reason, because that whole climax of the movie in the throne room is just, it's peak Star Wars.
It's incredible.
And the moment where Luke really becomes a Jedi is that speech that he has, where he throws down his lightsaber and he says, "You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi like my father before me." I mean, that's chills every time. It's just so good. And the way that it wraps up that trilogy, Luke wins by refusing violence, which is a huge step, right? It's not embracing this battle or this anger. It ends on compassion and not about domination, and it's very sincere. It feels like it was very well earned from a character perspective. So kind of the opposite of the prequels, where nothing felt earned from a character perspective because they just weren't written very well. But then, like, as an overarching kind of view of the original trilogy, it really valued character over canon. And I think that's the one difference, where the prequels were a lot about canon and less about like character studies.
Sure.
And I feel like why these movies work is because they are a lot more intimate and about, like, you follow Luke a lot closer than you do anybody in the prequels. And that's why you end up caring about him the most. And as much as I think the Sith are more interesting characters overall, but there's just something about Luke. He's just awesome. And he continues to be awesome into the sequel trilogy, which we will talk about next time.
He does.
He's not.
He really likes blue milk also.
He does. And yeah. Yeah.
This whole different subject for a whole nother episode, but like, I don't think Luke is a Jedi. Okay.
He is by the end.
No. I think he's gray.
That's not a thing.
It is a thing. Yeah,
it's not a thing.
Because Yoda's gray, Mace Windu is gray.
No, it's not a thing.
100%.
No.
100%. I'm saying it. He's not a Jedi.
If there's anybody in canon that would fit that mold, it's probably Ahsoka
and Mace Windu.
No, because he was still part of the Order. He didn't see himself that way.
No, that's
but
fine.
Ahsoka actually saw herself that way, as something outside of the Jedi.
I think you're both wrong. I think it's Ben Solo. He's the only gray Jedi. Straight up Ben Solo. That's it. Sorry, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. By the end, he's Ben Solo.
So that's gonna wrap up this. This has been great, guys. I really enjoyed this. And please, anybody who would like to share their thoughts, please sound off in our comments. We would like to know how you would rank these. Oh, I didn't mention where I would put Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
It's below Empire and it's right below A New Hope. It's very close to A New Hope, but I would put A New Hope slightly above it. And they're all above Rogue One.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't place it either, but Jedi would go below Empire, above Rogue One.
And you have New Hope, the bottom of these four?
Yeah.
You're insane. All right. Please follow us on all of the social platforms. Check us out on YouTube.
I'm insane.
You are insane. And as a reminder, we are all travel advisors. If you would like any of us to plan your next vacation, hopefully it's to Galaxy's Edge, where you can experience some of the sequel trilogy, which is what we're going to talk about next time when the dads come out to socialize.